Page 516. Transformation of sentences, textual. Interchange of parts of speech. Table, left column, example, right column, worked out. 1. Mr. Shiva Shankar subjected him to a scrutiny. Use scrutiny as a verb. Mr. Shiva Shankar scrutinized him. 2. Leela gave a cry of joy. Use the adverb form of joy. Leela cried out joyfully. 3. His company made her supremely happy. Use the adjective form of supremely. His company gave her supreme happiness. 4. Leela keenly examined the ball for traces of the moon. Use the noun form of keenly. Leela examined the ball with keenness for traces of the moon. 5. Leela keenly examined the ball for traces of the moon. Use the adjective form of keenly. Leela made a keen examination of the ball for traces of the moon. 6. He covered the ball tightly with his fingers. Use the adjective form of the word tightly. He made a tight cover over the ball with his fingers. 7. Leela clapped her hands. Use the noun form of clapped. Leela gave a clap with her hands. 8. She screamed in wonder. Use the noun form of the verb. She gave a scream in wonder. 9. It gave her great joy to play the teacher to Siddha. Use the verb form of joy. She greatly enjoyed playing the teacher to Siddha. 10. She pitied him. Use the noun form of the verb. She felt pity for him. 11. She accompanied him when he was sent on errands. Use the noun form of the verb. She was his companion when he was sent on errands. 12. Her mother gave her a slap. Use the verb form of slap. Her mother slapped her. 13. Leela's mother threw a glance at him. Use the verb form of glance. Leela's mother glanced at him. Page 517. Example. 14. His throat went dry. Use the verb form of dry. Worked out. His throat dried up. 15. He blinked and answered that he did not know. Use answer as a noun. He blinked and gave the answer that he did not know. 16. Mr. Shiva Shankar grew very excited over all this. Use the noun form of excited. Mr. Shiva Shankar showed much excitement over all this. 17. Why are you so rough? Use the noun form of rough. Why do you have so much roughness? 18. The thought of Siddha made her panicky. Use the verb form of panicky. The thought of Siddha panicked her. She panicked at the thought of Siddha. 19. I think he is angry with us. Use the noun form of angry. I think he is filled with anger at us. 20. By the time Shiva Shankar returned, Leela had fallen asleep. Use the noun form of return. By the time of Shiva Shankar's return, Leela had fallen asleep. 21. It seems he is an old criminal. Use the adverb form of seems. Seemingly, he is an old criminal. 22. He had been in jail half a dozen times. Use jail as a verb. He has been jailed half a dozen times. 23. The police know his haunts. Use the noun form of know. The police have knowledge of his haunts. 24. The inspector was furious. Use the noun form of furious. The inspector flew into a fury. 25. Leela's face became red. Use red as a verb. Annual Examination 2015. Leela's face reddened. 26. Leela replied haughtily. Use the adjective form of haughtily. Leela replied in a haughty manner. 27. Leela felt disgusted with the whole business. Leela felt disgusted with the whole business. Use the noun form of felt / disgusted. Leela had a feeling of disgust at the whole business. 28. Leela felt disgusted with the whole business. Use disgust as a verb. The whole business disgusted Leela. 29. You are not at all a reliable prosecution witness. Use the noun form of reliable. You don't have reliability as a prosecution witness. 30. The inspector observed humorously. Use the adjective form of humorously. The inspector observed in a humorous manner. 31. He looked at her mutely. Use the adjective form of mutely. He looked at her with a mute appeal. 32. These fellows who have been in jail once or twice lose all fear. Use the adjective form of fear. These fellows who have been in jail once or twice become fearless. 33. Nothing can make them confess. Use the noun form of confess. Nothing can draw out a confession from them. 34. It was unmistakably Leela's chain. Use the adjective form of unmistakably. That it was Leela's chain was unmistakable. 35. It was unmistakably Leela's chain. Rewrite using mistake. There was no mistake that it was Leela's chain. 36. The mirror was obviously made in India. Use the adjective form of obviously. It is obvious that the mirror was made in India. 37. He glanced at his watch. Use the noun form of glanced. He threw a glance at his watch. 38. Sir Mohan smiled at the mirror with an air of pity and patronage. Use the noun form of smiled. Mohan gave a smile at the mirror with an air of pity and patronage. 39. The coolie flattened his turban. Use the adjective form of flattened. The coolie made his turban flat. Page 518. 40. These days all trains are crowded. Use the noun form of crowded. These days all trains are full of crowd. 41. God loves me. Use the noun form of loves. God has love for me. 42. She was fond of a little gossip. Use the noun form of fond. She had a fondness for a little gossip. 43. Her husband never had any time to spare for her. Use the adjective form of spare. Her husband never had any spare time for her. 44. He did not like her poor illiterate relatives. Use the noun form of like. He did not have any liking for her poor illiterate relatives. 45. She obeyed passively. Use the noun form of passively. She obeyed with passivity. 46. These nocturnal visits had borne no fruit. Use the noun form of nocturnal. These visits at night had borne no fruit. 47. Lady Lull hurriedly finished off her meal. Use the noun form of hurriedly. Lady Lull finished off her meal in a hurry. 48. She got up, still licking the stone of the pickled mango. Use the noun form of pickled. She got up, still licking the stone of the mango pickle. 49. She emitted a loud belch. Use belch as a verb. She belched loudly. 50. After washing, she dried her mouth. Use the adjective form of dried. After washing, she wiped her mouth dry. 51. He rarely spoke Hindustani. Use the adjective form of rarely. His use of Hindustani in speech was rare. 52. The arrival of the train did not disturb Sir Mohanlal's sang-froid. Use the verb form of arrival. The train arrived without disturbing Sir Mohanlal's sang-froid. 53. His heart warmed at the prospect of an impressive conversation. Use the adjective form of warmed. His heart was warm at the prospect of an impressive conversation. 54. Whiskey never failed with Englishmen. Use the noun form of verb. Whiskey was never a failure with Englishmen. 55. Sir Mohan decided to welcome them. Use the noun form of verb. Sir Mohan took the decision to welcome them. 56. Sir Mohan lost his speech. Use the verb form of speech. Sir Mohan lost his capacity to speak. 57. In the prison shoe shop, Jimmy Valentine was assiduously stitching uppers. Use the adjective form of assiduously. In the prison shoe shop, Jimmy Valentine was stitching uppers in an assiduous manner. 58. Jimmy took it in a tired kind of way. Rewrite the sentence by using an adverb. Jimmy took it tiredly. 59. Better think over my advice. Use the verb form of advice. Better think over what I advise you. 60. There he tasted the first sweet joys of liberty. Use the noun form of tasted. There he had the taste of the first sweet joys of liberty. 61. From there he proceeded leisurely to the depot. Use leisurely as an adjective. From there he proceeded to the depot in a leisurely fashion. 62. Jimmy gazed fondly at the finest set of burglars' tools in the East. Use the noun form of fondly. Jimmy gazed with fondness at the finest set of burglars' tools in the East. 63. A week after the release of Valentine, 9762, there was a neat job of safe burglary. Use release as a verb. A week after Valentine 9762 had been released, there was a neat job of safe burglary. Page 519. Example 64. 64. Young men of Jimmy's style and looks were scarce in Elmore. Use the adverb form of scarce. Young men of Jimmy's style and looks were scarcely found in Elmore. 65. Her pa owns the bank. Use the noun form of verb. Her pa, PA, is the owner of the bank. 66. The clerk was impressed by the clothes and manner of Jimmy. Use the noun form of impressed. The clothes and manner of Jimmy left an impression on the clerk. 67. He cordially gave information. Use the adjective form of cordially. He gave information in a cordial manner. 68. Mr. Adams, the typical plodding country banker, approved of Spencer. Use the noun form of the verb. Spencer received approval from Mr. Adams, the typical plodding country banker. 69. I want to make you a present of my kit of tools. Use present as a verb. I want to present you with my kit of tools. 70. I'm making an honest living. Use the adverb form of honest. I am living honestly. 71. Ben Price jogged unobtrusively. 71. Ben Price jogged unobtrusively into Elmore. Use the adjective form of unobtrusively. Ben Price jogged into Elmore in an unobtrusive manner. 72. Mr. Adams was very proud of it. Use the noun form of proud. Mr. Adams took much pride in it. 73. Mr. Adams was very proud of it. Use the verb form of proud. Mr. Adam prided himself much on it. 74. Suddenly there was a scream or two from the women. Use the verb form of scream. Suddenly one or two of the women screamed. 75. Agatha's mother screamed again hysterically. Use the adjective form of hysterically. Agatha's mother screamed again in a hysterical manner. 76. Somebody wildly suggested dynamite. Use the adjective form of wildly. Somebody made a wild suggestion of using dynamite. 77. From that time on, he seemed to be unconscious of the presence of anyone else. Use the adverb form of seemed. From that time on, he was seemingly unconscious of the presence of anyone else. 78. But he never hesitated. Use the noun form of hesitated. He never had any hesitation. 79. From that time on, he seemed to be unconscious of the presence of anyone else. Use the adjective form of presence. From that time on, he seemed to be unconscious that anyone else was present. 90. In 80. In 10 minutes breaking his own burglarious record, he threw back the bolts and opened the door. Use the noun form of burglarious. In 10 minutes breaking his own record in burglary, he threw back the bolts and opened the door. 61. 81. 81. And then Ben Price acted rather strangely. Use the adjective form of strangely. And then Ben Price acted in a rather strange manner. 82. She went in haste to give that good news. Use the adverb form of haste. She went hastily to give that good news. 83. We have been created in the image of God. Use the noun form of created. We are creations in the image of God. 84. Millions are dying deliberately by the will of the mother. Use the adjective form of deliberately. Millions are dying by the deliberate will of the mother. 85. They practice this natural way of abstaining. Use the noun form of practice. They follow the practice of the natural way of abstaining. 86. And my answer was very simple. Use the noun form of simple. And my answer had much simplicity. Page 520. 87. And she died with a smile on her face. Use the adverb form of smile. And she died smilingly. 88. We had great difficulty in getting sugar. Use the adjective form of difficulty. We found it really difficult to get sugar. 89. They are hungry too. Use the noun form of hungry. They too have hunger. 90. She gave me a very simple answer. Use the verb form of answer. She answered me very simply. 91. And once we begin to love each other naturally, we want to do something. Use the adjective form of naturally. And once we begin to love each other in a natural fashion, we want to do something. 92. More than 80,000 have died a beautiful death. Use the adverb form of beautiful. More than 18,000 have died beautifully. 93. Lakshmi chatted away merrily. Use the adjective form of merrily. Lakshmi chatted away in a merry manner. 94. Language has an important place. Use the noun form of important. Language has its own importance. 95. On grounds of utility, they use tin containers in place of earthen pitchers. Earthen bracket elegant. Use the adjective form of utility. On utilitarian grounds, they use tin containers in place of elegant earthen pitchers. 96. They can easily lay their hands on earthen pitchers. Use the noun form of easily. They can lay their hands with ease on earthen pitchers. 97. The only redress for this lies in spreading art education. Use the noun form of spreading. The only redress for this lies in the spread of art education. 98. Our educated men advertise their devotion to art by showing framed pin-ups. Use the noun form of showing. Our educated men advertise their devotion to art with a show of framed pin-ups. 99. Regardless of whether we are materially affluent or not, this widespread disproportion and lack of taste is a sure indication of our poverty in aesthetic sensibilities. Use the adjective form of materially. Regardless of whether we have material affluence or not, this widespread disproportion and lack of taste is a sure indication of our poverty in aesthetic sensibilities. 100. This lack of taste is a sure indication of our poverty in aesthetic sensibilities. Use the verb form of indication / use the adverb form of sure. This lack of taste surely indicates our poverty in aesthetic sensibilities. 101. We should try to familiarize them with the beautiful creation of art and literature. Use the adjective form of familiarize. We should try to make them familiar with the beautiful creations of art and literature. 102. Each student should participate in it devotedly. Use the noun form of devotedly. Each student should participate in it with devotion. Next, affirmative to negative and vice versa. Page 520 continued.